Hello, legendary leaders, and welcome back to another enlightening episode of Legendary Leadership Bites. I'm your host Fatah Khan, and today we are going to talk about very interesting topic. Yes, it is about some of the myths that people have about leadership. Right? So the five common myths people have about leadership, the five myths about leadership that may be holding you back. So, what are these common myths? And I see a lot of people actually, because of these myths, they might have heard it from somewhere, or they might have having this as some of the things that they have heard from others. But these are the reasons why people actually try to stay away from leadership or try not to actually get into leadership, or many a times they are not able to grow as a leader because of these myths. Now, what are these myths? I'm going to jump into this directly now. So, what are these myths that are stopping most of the people and holding them back to actually become great leaders? Myth number one is leaders are born, not made. Now, this is something that I also heard for a very long time, that leaders are born, leaders are born. And I used to believe for a very long time during my corporate journey that leaders are born. And whenever I saw great leaders, I would say, wow, that's an amazing leader. And he is such blessed that he is born as a leader. And whenever I used to hear that legendary leaders, some of the legendary leaders from the world history, I used to feel, wow, these leaders are so blessed, these leaders are fortunate because they are born as leaders. And I would usually think of, hey, can I ever become a leader? Because leadership is something that people are born with, right? And then that actually, the myth that I heard or the myth that I got known to actually stopped me from understanding about leadership or even thinking about leadership for a very long time in my corporate journey. For at least a decade, I did not enter into the leadership role. I remember one of the times when I was even offered a leadership role during one of my corporate stint, and then I did not take up that because I had a lot of myths about leadership and I was not yet ready there. And today when I see a lot of people actually have different myths about leadership and they stop entering into the leadership roles, it actually makes me feel that there are reasons which people don't know, or there are reasons which people have actually started believing in, because of which they don't enter into the leadership role or they don't grow well as a leader. And one of that is leaders are born. Now, my dear friends, remember this: none of them are born as leaders. Everyone is made, right? So of course leadership is a skill, right? And when there is a skill, can you develop a skill? Yes, any skill can be developed. You can develop a skill, you learn that skill, you actually practice that skill, you master the skill, and you will also become a legendary leader. So no one is born with the leadership skills. It's people who develop leadership skills, who work on themselves to become great leaders. So if you have been thinking for a very long time that leaders are born, whatever leaders, whoever leaders you have seen from the history, from your corporate world, or wherever you have seen, these leaders were not born, right? Nobody was born as a leader. All of them actually became great leaders by learning skills, by learning certain traits, certain characteristics that they build, certain attributes that help them to become great leaders. So that's myth number one. What is myth number two? Myth number two is leadership is about being in charge. A lot of people think that leadership is about being in charge, right? When I listen to this, I feel more like it's like that babysitting, right? In the babysitting class, the teacher is in charge of the kids. So what does it mean, right? Taking charge of the kids. No, leadership is not about being in charge or taking charge. Leadership is not about the authority to take charge of people, right? It doesn't have to be like you are the authority and you are ruling over people. It's not that. It is about serving and influencing them, right? It's not about taking in charge. And a lot of people actually step back when they think of, oh, I have to take in charge of this one. No, 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 you are not taking charge of them. But of course, as a leader, you take responsibility of your team members, responsibility of team members in terms of their growth, in terms of their empowerment. That is what you do as a leader, because great leaders always inspire people, they empower people, they train, they coach people, and they develop people into becoming great leaders, right? So that's myth number two that I have busted right now for you. The myth number three is leaders have all the answers. Now, this is a common myth. A lot of people, they actually stay away from leadership because they believe, I don't have answers. I'm not a genius. I don't know everything. Right? Because for leaders, whenever I've seen leaders, they need to have all the answers. Great leaders have all the answers. My dear friends, in this world, no one has all the answers, including leaders. Right? But knowledge, can it be accumulated? Yes, of course. Right? There are various sources of accumulating or gaining knowledge. It can be through books. Today, it can be through podcasts. Today, it can be like interacting with people through maybe like events, networking events, maybe some seminars, workshops. So you can acquire knowledge, but you don't have to have all the answers, right? But it is not about knowing everything. Please remember this. In today's era where it is all filled with knowledge and information everywhere, it's not about knowing all the answers. It's about knowing for yourself that you can develop any skill, and knowledge is something again that you can acquire along with skills, right? Because instead of focusing on answers, if you see great leaders focus on what? Asking the right questions. So if you want to become a great leader, like develop the ability to ask the great questions, right questions, quality questions. It's not about looking for, if not about having all the answers. And in future, whenever you are looking at great leaders, I want you to observe them, and I want you to see them whether they are giving all the answers or whether they are asking the right questions, right, that are actually helping people to navigate the way and find their answers. So that is something that you can look at. And then the myth number four is leadership is about control. Again, one of the biggest myth. Leadership is about control. Leadership is not about controlling others. Leadership is not about like putting everyone into a room and then controlling them, or putting them into a zone or an organization and you controlling them, their actions, right? It's not about that. Leadership is about creating a compelling vision and mission statement so that people actually they come on their own, they volunteer, they actually are inspired to be part of that vision and mission. It's not about controlling, it's about like giving them the freedom to choose and be part of your team, be part of your organization, because you as the leader have a great and a compelling mission and vision, which actually makes people feel that I want to contribute to this mission and vision and do something meaningful for myself and for the world. Right? That is about leadership. It's not about control. The myth number five is leadership is a solo act. A lot of people say this. Leadership is a solo journey. Leadership is a dark journey. Leadership is a journey which is all of difficulties, and you are alone in the leadership. Right? Life is solo in leadership. How did you know this? Right? As a leader, when you have your team, how could you become solo? Because leadership is not a solo game. Leadership is a team game, because you have team with you and you play the game with the team. And as a leader, you actually are the one who is more like a coach, right, for the team, who is helping the team to develop the skills and the abilities so that they are making the organization win, they are making the team win. And everyone, each individual, when they contribute towards the team wins. And you as the leader, your contribution is bigger because you are the thinker, right? You are the one who is actually coaching them, you are the one who is actually showing them the vision and mission. So leadership is not a solo journey, leadership is a team sport. So if you are someone who is always inspired by being with people, who is always like happy being with people, who is always happy working with people, who is always happy like working with teams, then leadership is for you, right? It's not a solo journey, it's a team sport, as long as you play it as a team sport and you help everyone to grow along with you, right? So these are the five myths that I wanted to bust with you all today, so that you can actually come out of the myths. You can stop looking at what others are looking, and then you can create your leadership path. And if you're already in that leadership journey, you can become a legendary leader, right? So thank you so much once again for joining me in today's episode. Until our next episode, keep leading with purpose and impact. Stay inspired, stay influential. Thank you.